I was a teenage film snob, baby. I was a teenage film snob, baby.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Film Snob HQ. I'm James Chalmers, and thank you for joining me here once again. This is our second episode. It was never meant to be a series. I did one video because I wanted to practice my video editing skills, and I had a lot of fun, and everyone was really nice. I wasn't expecting the first video to get as many views as it was. I thought maybe 5 or 10 people would check it out, and we blew past 200, which was so lovely. So thank you so much for your kind comments and for everyone reaching out. There were no nasty comments at all, and that is not an invitation to get started. But I had a lot of fun, and people seemed to dig it, so I thought I'd do another one today, and we might turn this into a bit of an ongoing series. So if there are lists you want to see, if there are movies you want me to talk about, if there are things you want me to unbox and I have access to them, if you want me to go through all those movies behind me or give you a tour of the cinema or whatever it is, let me know and maybe I can work something out. If you haven't seen the last episode, I went through 5 of my favorite films from 2025 that I thought didn't get enough attention. So films that maybe a little bit underrated, not talked about as much, and maybe not been on top 10 lists that I wanted to see people talk about more. So that was the last episode. If you haven't checked it out, it's like 15 minutes long. Go give it a go. This week, I'm going back further in time. I'm diving into my childhood. If you've listened to the podcast, which you can find everywhere on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and beyond, you'll know that I was a video store kid. I grew up going to the video store, the video library. I would buy VHS tapes. I'd rent them. I'd buy DVDs. Physical media, clearly a big part of my life. So I want to go back to childhood. It's not specific. It's not, from the age of 2 to 6 or anything like that. Just 5 films that I loved watching again and again and again as a kid, and I don't really hear people talk about anymore. So just like with my previous list, I just want to shine a light on some classics, some things that I really liked. Hopefully you've seen some of them. Maybe you've seen all of them. Hopefully you love them. Maybe you didn't. Tell me why. Some of them I totally get, but I love everything I watch, and I want to share it with you. So they're in no particular order. I'm going to go through 5 different films now. I'm going to include some clips, so not just one like last time. I've actually got a few more clips I can show you so you can get an idea for what it was. And we'll have a bit of fun, and hopefully you dig it. And if you don't have to watch, I guess. Alrighty, so coming in 5th place, but it's not ranked, it's just the first one I wrote down, is a film from 2001. I was 12, turning 13. This was an adaptation of a cartoon that I loved as a kid. And I never hear people talk about this movie anymore, so I wanted to shine a light first and foremost on Josie and the Pussycats.
Why do you do what you do to me, baby? Shaking my confidence, driving me crazy. You know if I could, I'd do anything for you. Please don't ignore me, 'cause you know I adore you. Can you just pretend to be nice?
This flick, based on the cartoon characters, which were of course an adaptation of the Archie comics. The cartoons, I want to say, were like 60s or 70s, so it took a long time for Josie and the gang to get their own film, and they did such a great job. This is an incredible cast. The Pussycats and Josie herself are played by Rachel Lee Cook, who I'm a huge fan of. Rachel Lee Cook dominated the late 90s and early 2000s with She's All That. That was a huge film for her, and this one. And she's still around doing stuff, but I just feel like people don't talk about her enough anymore, and it's a real shame because she's brilliant in this film. We've got Rosario Dawson as Valerie, and she is wonderful. Rosario Dawson's been in a million things. She's in the Marvel Universe. She's been in the Kevin Smith films. She's excellent. Sin City, really great in this flick as well. And then we have Tara Reid. Tara Reid was coming fresh off American Pie. She could have had her career just be raunchy teen comedies, and she did do a lot of those, but this was a bit of a left turn for her. She plays Melody in the band The Drummer, and it was so well cast. It was perfectly cast, in my opinion. So if you don't know the story of Josie and the Pussycats, they're a small kind of pop band, rock band, want to make it big. And in the cartoons, they went on crazy adventures. Like, yes, they kind of did things around town, but then they also solved mysteries and they went to space. None of that happens in this one. This is pretty straightforward, although there is some saving of the world at the end. They want to get on a record label. They want people to hear their music. They want to, kind of reach their fans and stuff like that. And luck falls into their lap. They get signed on this massive record label run by Parker Posey, who is brilliant in this movie. She's brilliant in everything, but she's so good in this flick. And it turns out the record label maybe has some nefarious plans. And it's centered a lot around the idea of subliminal messaging and stuff like that as well. I don't want to spoil it, but it is 25 years old. Like, you had time to check this out. We've got Alan Cumming as well, who is kind of like the band manager. Alan Cumming is actually in 2 more films on my list today. I didn't realize this was the Alan Cumming list, but there you go. And it's just really fun. It's just a really fun girl power flick. The music is fantastic. The band that did all the recording for the actors are excellent. The songs are great. I still have the soundtrack on my Spotify and on my iPhone physically as well because I still have CDs. And it ends with them trying to save the world. So really, really fun movie. Eugene Levy also shows up. The plot's really silly. Don't go in expecting like a really serious ground to take. Like this is not the Dark Knight of Josie and the Pussycat films. This isn't Riverdale where it was all edgy and grim. This is really lighthearted and silly and fun. Like fun is the best word for it. I adore this flick. People don't talk about it enough. I feel like people didn't see it enough. Because even when it hit the shelves and I worked in the video store, like people didn't seem to know what it was. But it's such a big part of my childhood. Go and check it out. I've got it on Blu-ray. I'm sure you can find it somewhere online. But if not, go and buy it. It is so much fun and a real taste of its time. Also, don't mention that it's fun, because I definitely said that a couple of times. Next up, sticking in the world of girl power and music and all things 90s and 2000s, I'm going back even further to 1996. I think it was 1996. It might have been 1997. I could have done the research. I didn't. I'm sorry, guys. And I want to talk about the Spice Girls.
Hello, Mr. Bond. Or can I call you Jay?
If you grew up in the 90s, you could not escape them. Spice Girl fever was on the same level as Beatlemania. And I know that sounds like an exaggeration, especially if you weren't here for it. But it was insane. They were on lunchboxes. They were on TV. They had a movie. They had multiple soundtracks. They had stickers. They had trading cards. They had so much merch, costumes. It was insane. The Spice Girls were everywhere. They were on buses. They were at the Olympics. Like all sorts of crazy stuff. Like they were just everywhere. And of course, you know, as most of these manufactured groups tend to go, when there was enough hype behind them, a movie came. And this movie is insane. It's got one of the lowest ratings on IMDb I've ever seen, but don't let that discourage you. I think the people who are rating it are taking it far too seriously. It's very much a parody. It's very self-aware. And it's the story of the 5 Spice Girls, Ginger, Posh, Baby, Scary, and Sporty. It's like a week in their life. Like they've got a new song coming out. They've got a huge tour about to start. They're trying to get a break because they worked so hard to the bone. It's so tough being a pop star in the UK. And at the same time, this media mogul's trying to take them down. He wants to sell more newspapers, and the best way to sell newspapers is to break up the Spice Girls. So he's trying to do that. One of their best friends is pregnant and about to have a baby. They want to find love. There's so much. Oh, and someone's shooting a documentary about them. It's crazy. There's so many plot lines. If anyone went into this being like, why isn't it so grounded? Why isn't it serious? They missed the point of Spice World, the Spice Girls movie. The girls are fantastic. Obviously, the music is wonderful. It's very 90s. If you remember that era, it is all the hits. And that soundtrack is killer as well. That got a lot of rotation in my car growing up. When I say my car, I mean my parents' car, because I did not have a license. The gags are really funny. They're very, very self-aware. I really like how they make fun of themselves. It's got an incredible list of cameos and supporting cast. Alan Cumming, as I mentioned, is in it. Richard E. Grant, the theatre world, with Nail and Eyes, Richard E. Grant is in this film. Meatloaf is in it, Bob Geldof, Elton John. There's an alien invasion scene. There's a scene where they get stuck in a haunted house. It's crazy. It's just the most ridiculous film ever. But it's so goofy and silly and just brings a smile to my face. I showed it to my kid when we came back from overseas last year. We'd been to the UK and she got really into the Spice Girls. And she loved it as well. Just a true joyous nugget of the 90s, and you just can't go wrong with it. There's a lot of kind of shout outs to classic British comedy. There's a whole sequence where they have to go get dance training, and the dance instructor is very much a Monty Python-esque like army character. Brilliant. A lot of fun. So if you haven't checked out Spice World, it's definitely I think you can watch it on YouTube. If you haven't checked it out, just be aware that it's not taking itself seriously. It's very much a kind of product of its time, but it's so much fun, and I hope you dig it. Let me know what you think about Spice World. I think it's pretty great. We're now heading back to the 2000s. I was definitely a teenager at this point. I want to say I was 13 going on 14 when this one came out. It was around 2001, 2002. It was in an era where I was now getting to an age where I wanted to see more mature content, but I had a younger brother and sister, and they couldn't see more mature content, so I often had to compromise. Not that I could have gone anywhere. My parents were very strict growing up. But there was a movie in the early 2000s. There's a trilogy of movies, in fact, and no one talks about these movies anymore, despite having 2 modern sequels. That was made for kids, but it felt more grown up. And that's because the director was a filmmaker who had come from a mostly mature background. He'd made westerns and action films and horror films and thrillers, and now he was tackling the genre of family films. And I'm, of course, talking about Robert Rodriguez's Spy Kids.
A real life.
It's basically the story of this spy family. So Antonio Banderas and Carla Gugino play the parents, and they're just so wonderfully attractive. Like to this day, just 2 of the most beautiful people in the world. They play these, this very suave, like sexy spy couple. And at the beginning of the film, it tells the story of how they met, and they were spies from different agencies, and they met and they fell in love. And so now they still do a little bit of spy work, but they're not so much because they're raising their family. Their new challenge in life is to raise kids. Their kids are played by Alexa Penavega and Daryl Sabara, and this is I think it's their first film each, and they're so wonderful. And they would go on to star in many more Robert Rodriguez films, including the Machete films, Sin City, and other things as well. Played by Alexa Penavega, is a more popular girl. She's heading into her teens, and she doesn't have time for a younger brother, Junie, played by Daryl Sabara, who's not particularly popular. He doesn't have a lot of friends. He's a little bit weird, and he just wants to be loved by his family. It's really quite heartbreaking. And then one day, when while they're at school, their parents go to work. They go on a mission, and they get taken. They get taken by this guy called Floop, played by Alan Cumming, my third Alan Cumming and my final Alan Cumming reference. And he's a children's film entertainer, but on the side he does government contracts for weapons and genetic mutation stuff. It's a weird flick. I'm not denying that. So the kids end up going to a safe house, finding out their parents are spies, and they have to pretty much become agents to save their parents. And they fight Floop's army, which is made of 5-thumbed monsters, as in the head and the body parts are made of thumbs. They fight adult spies, and it's very, very silly. The gadgets are cool. The fight scenes are pretty fun. The CGI doesn't necessarily hold up, but it is a 25-year-old film. I'll give them a little bit of leeway there. But it's just a really lovely film about family that happens to be an action film. And you can tell it's got Robert Rodriguez's sensibilities. So if you haven't seen Spy Kids, there are 3 of them in the original trilogy. They then made more in the last few years. I haven't seen those ones, but 2 and 3 are also really fun. But Spy Kids is always going to be a personal favorite, and no one is talking about it. So if you haven't watched Spy Kids, go and check it out. In second place, or fourth place, I stopped counting, so I forgot what I was doing, is a classic BBC miniseries / TV movie. It wasn't released theatrically because it's 3 hours long and was released in parts, but it still counts. Letterboxd said it was a movie, so I'm going with Letterboxd here. And it is the original adaptation of C.S. Lewis's The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. If you're familiar with the Chronicles of Narnia, most people seem to be more familiar with the 2005 film starring Liam Neeson and Tilda Swinton, which is fantastic. It's a great flick. But when I was a kid, we only had this BBC miniseries, and this flick was made on a budget. Aslan is a puppet. Morgrim, the chief of police, the Wolfman, is a man in a costume with face paint on. As one of my friends told me recently, the beavers look like turds. It's very, very cheaply made, but it's so earnest. The kids are all annoying and snot-nosed, and you don't really like them, and you shouldn't, because they're a bit grotty and stuff like that. But it's shot in the real world. Like, there are some sound stages, but like some of those scenes are shot out in the real world. There's no CGI. There's some very primitive effects, which I guess you could call CGI, but it's very much all done real. I can't say words today, guys. I apologize. I bought it on Blu-ray. They just recently released on Blu-ray for the first time, and it holds up incredibly well. Obviously, the effects look a bit weird, and the costumes are a bit strange, but if you like that story, it's so well done. It's very nostalgic, and it's very, very enchanting and charming, despite being made on a much lower budget than it probably deserved. They actually made 2 sequel series. They did Prince Caspian and The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. I just watched that for the first time ever, and I liked it, but it doesn't hold a candle to Lion the Witch Wardrobe for me, because I love that so much. And I haven't quite watched The Silver Chair yet, but it's on my list. So when I've seen it, I'll post about it here, or probably on Instagram. But if you have not seen this movie, this mini-series, whatever you want to call it, it is something else. I couldn't even get clips, like high-definition clips, to show you. I had to just pull the opening credits to give you a taste of what it is. Look it up. It's bizarre and weird and beautifully 80s. It's from 1988, and it's so worth your time. And I don't hear anyone talk about this one. The final film I want to talk about is not a kid's film per se, but it was a big part of my childhood. As I mentioned at the start of this video, I went to the video store a lot. My dad took me every weekend. We'd always get a couple of new releases, whatever was brand new. And then the cheaper weekly releases, we'd get a few for the kids and stuff like that. And whilst we like to mix things up, there was one movie that was a staple. Every week, I feel like we hired this film, it felt like. And that is a 94, maybe 96, SNL-style comedy called Beverly Hills Ninja.
When evil strikes, there's only one hope.
So sorry.
I was told that I could find a ninja here.
One mysterious beauty.
I will accept your dangerous mission.
A deadly counterfeiting ring.
But if it isn't the Great White Ninja.
And Chris Farley in a Kung Pao adventure. Beverly Hills Ninja.
This movie stars the late, great Chris Farley as a young man named Haru. As a child, he washed up on the shores of a Japanese island. He was taken in by the local dojo to join their clan of ninja. Instead of taken to the orphanage, like most people would, he was raised as a ninja, and he is the worst ninja you've ever seen. All of his brothers, these wonderful, like, fit, fighting, charming Japanese men, and then him just blundering his way through the movie. It's very wacky. I heard a rumor, apparently Chris Farley did not like the way the film turned out. He thought it was very childish, and he kind of hated it. It really bums me out because I love this movie. Like, yes, it's silly. Yes, it's probably, in terms of quality, it's on the lower end. But the gags just work, man. And if you're at that impressionable age that I was when I watched it, it works so well. Nicolette Sheridan, who most people know from Desperate Housewives, plays the love interest. We've got Robin Shu, I think his name is. You might know him as Liu Kang from the original Mortal Kombat film. He plays Gobei, his brother. And Chris Rock makes an appearance as well. It's just silly. It's just so dumb and silly. And the idea of someone as large as Chris Farley doing cartwheels and throwing ninja stars just brings a smile to my face. So those are my 5 films from childhood that I recommend. If you haven't seen them, they're Josie and the Pussycats, Spice World the movie, Spy Kids, Chronicles of Narnia, in particular, the BBC version of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and Beverly Hills Ninja. I put in links, or I put in little trailers throughout the video, so check them out. Let me know what you think if you've seen them. Tell me if you like them. Tell me if you don't like them. If there are things from your childhood that you reckon I should see, put them on the list. I'll check them out. And tell me what you want to see next. Are there any other lists you'd like me to do? I can talk about other movies from my childhood. I can go to my teenage years, my 20s. There's stuff we've done on the podcast I can recreate here. I've got an unboxing video coming up soon. I've got a massive package coming in from the States, which I'm going to unbox, which is very exciting. So that'll be the next video, hopefully. But yeah, sound off in the comments what you want. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm having fun with it. So until people get too mean, I'll probably keep doing it. I should probably cut that bit. Otherwise, people will be deliberately mean on purpose. Thanks for joining me. Hope you dug the video. I'll see you all in the next one. Take it easy, guys.